wanted to share this with you guys. Turns out one of my old-time favorite games actually has some predictive programming in it. So I figured I actually would show you guys this as an example of predictive programming of what they do in video games. Now, we already know, for most of you who have already done the research, you already know the true thing about the viruses, you already know the true things about the vaccinations. But there's been a track record with Resident Evil to where they would basically, saying, oh, we need a vaccine for the virus. And you see all these mutations, zombies popping out of the woodwork, and all types of creatures being developed because of this. Well, it turns out all of that's basically just been brainwashing people to make them believe that viruses are dangerous, but in reality, it's the vaccine that's dangerous. So, I'm going to share this game with you all and play a couple minutes of it. If you want to see more of it and you just want me to go all the way to the end and beat this thing, just let me know. You know, the odd thing about these games, especially when it comes to Resident Evil, they with Resident Evil, it deals with like bioorganism terrorism, basically, right? And then we see all this corruption in biomedical. Now, what if, since this games tend to have a lot of predictive programming, by the way. I'm actually grateful for Vocal Wolverine for the image he shared, and it turned out in the last SpiderMan video game that they came out with, which was on the PS4, I believe, it actually had predictive programming all throughout that game. And trust me, it isn't just the Marvel games, it's like several other games. Capcom's notorious for this, as well as many other organizations too. There's a really good reason as to why I'm showing you all this, and it's because the people who are still blind, when they see this predictive programming, they take this stuff off as facts. And due to, that ignorance, they're a danger to themselves as well as the people around them. Because, they go, when it comes to tyranny, and these deceitful lies and these setups, these people basically allow themselves to be foolish enough, to be gullible enough to just fall right in line with this mess. And as a result, some of them end up dead, unfortunately, without really realizing the truth behind everything until it's too late. It's not our fault that a lot of us been brainwashed, but it is our responsibility to basically break free from this synthetic reality. That is, with every single one of us, that is our responsibility to do that. And to also ensure that we wake up as many other people as possible. But I'm telling you, that's a task that's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. So as you see here, they come out with the vaccine Metroid saying, oh, you got a virus, so why don't we just give you a vaccine, right? Same scripted behavior with Resident Evil, and it's not even just Resident Evil. Now, let's look at this from another perspective. You got games like Grand Theft Auto, right? People are starting to let their kids... Now, it wasn't until I got Grand Theft Auto 5 and I started playing online that I started to realize people were allowing children as young as the age of 8 and 9, and possibly even younger than that, playing these games. And I'm like, dude, this is not for their age range. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and tell you exactly what's in this game. You can pick up prostitutes. You can go to a strip club, and this game is got nudity in it, so if you know what a strip club is and you manage to waltz in there, you're going to see some titties, okay? So let me get this straight. There are parents okay with their, basically the adolescent, weak-minded children to watch this stuff because they're weak-minded now. They haven't fully developed. They're still learning. They think it's okay to just go ahead and say F it, and just go ahead and give them. Look, my mother never did no shit like that, okay? She would not allow that, ever. She never did. And I actually asked her once that I did ask her for an M-rated game, and she said no. There are some parents who do pay attention to this stuff, but not many, unfortunately. And as a result, what happens for those people who don't take that responsibility lightly? Or should I say they take it lightly and not seriously? Well, you got people who do the exact same, and it basically starts, they'll just let boundaries go down more and more. And as a result, this is where you get people who basically become fully compliant into this synthetic system. They want a transparent government to where you're not able to basically see what they're doing or know what they're doing. Now, there's somewhat, systematic situations like that, but there are cases to where the information still breaks free for people to be able to find out what happened. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen as soon as, people should know in order to basically put a stop to it. But there's one thing we also got to be mindful of. Just about 90% of the information that's put out there is definitely misinformation. And it's basically designed to, it's purposely flooded to basically flood out the real and truthful information that they're trying to tell people. The term conspiracy theorist was created in order to basically specifically discredit people who would speak out in truth of stuff they don't want people knowing about. And the stuff that they don't want people starting to question. And now you gotta ask yourself, the reality of this is that no matter how you look at it, they don't want people questioning any of this stuff. They want to just give people a solid answer, or a half-ass answer, which is a complete lie, and then leave it off at that. They don't want people questioning their reality. They don't even want them basically trying to see what's going on. And now they're coming up with this vaccination. People have already looked back at what Bill Gates was talking about and when he was developing. That was their first flaws when they filmed that, but something tells me they probably didn't care, and they should have known that was eventually going to come back. Now, if they had full control over the internet, well, that's different. The only thing they really have control over is devices and stuff. Now, the networks, that's different. Now, as far as things concerned, we've got celebrities who have tons of fans who lure people into this systematic, synthetic way of thinking. Saying, and the women tend to be very impressionable, and guys, there's been a scheme that's been basically plaguing us, since the Stone Age. You know how they'll have the very nice-looking car, and then they got the beautiful-looking women next to the car. You know how that salesman does that. They'll basically try to lure you, making you believe, just go ahead and give me money. Give me this money, and you can have this ride, and you will get the girl. You can get the girl. But that's not entirely true. A lot of things that are invented are specifically designed for people to be addicted to. So when you have people who are addicted to video games, right? And I admit I was like that a while back. I was, but it really, when you start to really notice things, you start to, come to the conclusion that like stuff is really coming to a problem here. Now, I actually got to go check on something just for a quick second. I'll be right back. Just give me a minute. That's doing too well. If you're wondering what that is, I'm actually currently baking something. So I gotta check in and out on that from time to time. Anyway, let's continue. Now, here's the thing about quarantine. There is some credibility to quarantine, but you see, they use that credibility to actually, to try to, to lie and get away with a lot of the crap that goes on, and to just, just to put people through a lot of mess. And they don't care whether you're not in a position to really care for your family or not. This happened as a result in the UK. There was people along the side of the block somewhere in this motel, and they had everything locked down. They wouldn't let nobody out. People were running out of diapers for the babies. People were running out of food. And this is the reality when you rely on your government to basically provide for you. They don't care. They just want to line their own pockets up. People are just, completely addicted to this system to where they, I guess I got it with the navigation. They're so addicted to this system to where they, they lose themselves in it. They become something less than themselves. A catalyst of what this system wants them to be rather than what they were born as. And it's like I mentioned in some of my previous videos, people basically adapt this mask of deception to where they become someone they're not. And they develop these traits that they were not born with, that was just synthetically placed on them. And I say very synthetically because in the end, it's not something that's valid. So you can't consider it to be real, either real emotions or anything like that. It's sad, really. People are not, acceptable of you just being yourself, and you gotta basically just embrace the narrative all because it's just supposed to support the system, and as long as it basically keep the politicians making money, keep these crooks basically in the positions in power, right? It's for all the better in their perspective. Some of these people got it in a way where they just become super lazy, and I believe that's the biggest problem nowadays. People don't want to get up and do stuff that they wouldn't want to do, and this is where a lot of this technology comes into play. They purposely make stuff addictive to do or to play in order to keep people busy and to keep their minds off of the reality of what's going on. It took people to actually break into those hospitals in order to actually figure out what the hell is going on, to prove that they were lying about the numbers of this whole pandemic thing. I tip my hat off to every single one of those, of those people. If anything, those are real veterans of this current generation, because they, whether they ended up in jail as a result or whatever, either they got assaulted or anything like that, they took a huge risk in order to basically bring out the truth, and I commend every single one of them. I am proud of every single one of them, truly. Just so you know, as far as transhumanization is concerned, Samus is not. As far as I know, she's not a robot. She doesn't have any robotic limbs or anything like that. But the suit that she's in is just a power suit. Okay, so that's so we're clear on that. But despite that, that doesn't stop them from putting stuff in here from time to time. And what I mean by that is like outside sources, people paying off game developers to basically put their message in here to just screw with the fans or screw with the people who, basically the consumers. It's usually like that. I mean, you can't even watch your Saturday morning cartoons without some subliminal BS being in there somewhere. You know something? We probably do need cartoons nowadays, but we need cartoons that don't include crap like that in there. We actually need cartoons. It's just like what Tom Pugliese was talking about. We really do need cartoons to try to help wake people up. So maybe you get a hold of some actual animators who are capable of that, who got the editing expertise to make these cartoons. Because I actually came across a channel like they haven't made content in years now. They've made at least 3 or 4 different shows so far. One of them was called who was that? GMO a Go-Go. The other one was talking about the whole situation with the smart meters. And then there was one that was talking about, the straw man effect. And the fact that technically, there's actually 2 U's. There's basically a paper U, and then there's the actual U. And that the fact is that it explains how the whole scam of what taxes, and it explains the whole scam even with court systems. Turns out the court system's been misused from the start. It doesn't matter how you look at it. 2 people, the fact that you showing up even for like a parking ticket or even a speeding ticket, it turns out like. But you see, the thing is that they rely on people not knowing information like that. You may be saying, "No, you don't know what you're talking about." Dude, it's because you've been basically brainwashed into thinking that. You've been brainwashed into thinking that that's not possible, that something like that would make sense. But in reality, you'd be surprised. But the thing is, like, why would they think about it from this perspective? If they're making money from something, and let's look at how desperate people have been for money over the last couple of years. Because as far as I know, there have been people pretending to even be homeless just to get some money. When you got people like that who exist, do you really think there are not going to be people out there who are that desperate for money that they will actually lie to the masses in order to get as much revenue as possible? You best believe that people who would do such a thing would be just as desperate to prevent anybody from speaking out against it, because that's what their livelihood is. They don't want their cash flow to stop. They want to be able to keep using people. They want to be able to keep making money and being able to trick people into thinking that they need this and need that. All the while, they're being scammed out of their hard. It should never be the people need the government. It should be the government that needs the people. That's how it's supposed to be, and that's how it's always supposed to be. But somewhere down the line, a large portion of the population forgot that. Could have been from different, people being paid off. Who knows? But that seems to be quite the narrative nowadays, especially if you're going through this targeting program. If anything, if I had to take a guess, I'd say we're the biggest threat to their system than anything else. I'll never forget about the situation about what Zacchaeus was talking about when he mentioned the whole, what was that? The whole X-Files movie thing and the ending of it, prior to the ending of the series too. After after all of this stuff being centered around aliens and junk, they finally revealed at the end of the movie that it wasn't aliens at all. It was just the government effing with people. And then they were using, aliens as a scapegoat to just cover up the corruption that was going on. And then, let's say, if you go even farther down the rabbit hole, you're going to stumble on a lot of satanic shit in regards to that too, as far as aliens. Now, whether there are beings of different species that exist, of course there's other forms of life that exist. I'll agree with that. Easily. But you gotta be careful because they use many different things out there in the line of deception to basically, if it's something they can use to fool the people or to manipulate everybody, you best believe they're gonna use it. And that's what you gotta be careful of, bound to be more predictive programming in this game somewhere. Well, just the clone situation, there's been a lot of speculation about that. Now, when it comes to the whole cloning thing, there's only one thing that I noticed that was very odd. I just don't know if the guy was a clone or not, but I've never seen this ever in my life until that moment. This is back when I was in Baton Rouge, and there was this guy who was at this bus stop, right? He didn't seem human. He didn't. I didn't get him on film, but I've never seen someone who had their skin basically bubbling as if, like, let's say, you know how like bubbles will pop up when you boil water, right? I've never seen a guy who would have skin that would basically bubble up like that, but from underneath the skin. I can't, I wish I was making this up, but it's very odd. It's very odd, and it's weird because, like, it was just something off about him. I just don't know what it was, but it was really something off about that guy. I don't know, maybe it was boils. I don't know what the heck it was. I don't know. But it was weird because it wasn't like his skin was like swelled up or anything like that, but it's like he was, like how a bobblehead figure would actually, react. How his head just bobbles up a little bit. The guy's head was doing that, but it really was. First time I've ever seen something like that, but maybe he had some kind of skin case or something. I don't know. Just thinking about this, giving me deja vu about the Attack of the Body Snatchers, and then that's even more subliminal messaging when you actually watch that movie, because it referenced people who snatches bodies. And when you basically realize what this technology does, you figure out that it gives people the ability to act, and especially people who are unsuspecting, because they tried this with me back. But I still had some sort of subconscious resistance. I don't know why. But it felt like something really was trying to take over my body at the time. It's for people who are who haven't experienced this. There's no way you even be able to understand, and I get that. But you see, that's the whole purpose of where they tricked people into. They tricked people into having and sticking with that state of mind and not even question their reality of things. And as a result, I'm gonna get rid of these guys. And as a result, it's caused people to, be blinded by their own reality. They don't question it at all. They don't question anything. But I guarantee you, they don't question as soon as someone comes up to them and paying somebody off because they did something, corrupted. I guarantee you, they won't say no to that. But there are some people who just naturally won't accept stuff like that. There are people out there, but more like it's a dime a dozen, and it's not common to just, find people like that. I believe that leads into why they do it on Facebook. It was just to figure out who would be compliant with this mess, who would not be. Wow, I need to get that. causing like wilderness malfunction. I'm not going to play this for very long. Just going to do a couple more minutes and just until I'm able to save again, and that'll be it. I actually wasn't even intending to go this long with this. I probably should talk about our current progress with the anti-V2K headset. I did do it in that last video, in one of those other videos that I did, but unfortunately I had to get rid of that video since the volume was just too loud. So anyway, my progress so far with that thing, you see, when you first put it on, the tinnitus will still be there, but like if you give it a couple minutes, the tinnitus starts to go away. But I realize that even if you do that, it can still somehow, somewhat attack you because you're lacking on the systems. And it's most likely due to the body just creating these fibers and stuff. That's usually what it is. So, not only just this, but as a coincidence, I wasn't just paying attention to the symptoms that I was having. As far as what relief I was getting, two things about this thing. First thing, I was actually able to distinguish both the synthetic thoughts from my own, as well as also being able to, okay, I don't know over there, as well as also being able to closely actually get some sleep. This was when I was using both the headset and the shielding that I was using all together. Now, if you wonder what shielding I was using, as I mentioned before in one of my other videos, I basically took an old, basically an old air mattress, opened it up, one of its ends, and doing that actually formed some shielding. Now, because of me doing that, I got hit like 4 or 5 times with radiation. So I figured, if they are forced to basically have to attack me with these weapons like that, then that gives me more capabilities of actually being able to track them. Now, one of the apps that I showed you guys before was app snitch. That app actually gives you MAC addresses and stuff. You're able to also, the IPs and everything, you're able to easily pretty much easily, oh wow, did they really just do that? I needed that. I really wish he would just jump on me. And it's going, and he just jumped over. Oh well. I think I'm gonna end it there. I tried, but I'm gonna end it there. But anyway, as far as the shielding, you can basically use Wiggle Wi-Fi in order to get the MAC addresses of the weaponized systems that they're using on you. And judging from what Miss SHP was mentioning, you gotta go to I think like the Nordic Semiconductor website or something like that in order to basically be able to track and trace these weaponized systems that they're using. I imagine that with these low emission devices, you also be able to figure out what precisely they they put out there and put down somewhere. But you got to understand, they are watching us like hawks, and they wait for opportunities where you're not around, you're not watching anything, and that's when they basically commit these acts. They purposely wait at the right moment to where they got enough time. This is why you got to be careful when you're being gaslighted, because they will try to lure you into a trap. And I get it. You film the stuff for your own protection. That's understandable. But you also got to understand that they purposely do this to get your attention. So what they, as an example, there was a fellow Target Individuals channel I watched just the other day. It was Gang Stalking Simulation, and he actually caught a perp on film. The guy was obviously a perpetrator, but if you watch the video, you'll see how he was basically trying to trick him to lure his camera over to an angle, over to where there was a female perp in the area with her kid dressed in color harassment colors. The same stuff that they've been using on him, because they've been basically gaslighting him with red a whole lot of times. So you got to be careful. Now here's what I do, because I use the method that Miss SHP talks about to get the hacking and the whole weaponized system. If they're beaming me with frequencies, I can catch it with that. That's catching everything. I just let Wiggle Wi-Fi do its job. I let Wi-Fi tracker, all that stuff do its job as I'm going out and about with my day. And as I'm out, it's just basically recording all of the stuff that's showing up. Now, as this is happening, I have my camera glasses on at the same time. I'm recording everything that's happening around the area that I'm in. These people who show up and I look at the film of what I was recording, and they just so happen to pop up in the exact same spot around the exact same time. I look at the time frames of both films of exactly how many minutes pass by, and I also mention the time as the film, as I'm filming, as it starts. I also highly recommend getting the 360 camera, because there's stuff that they do in your blind spot that you're not catching. I've only got lucky to catch that a couple number of times, but you'd be surprised at the amount of evidence you'll catch from that. And trust me, do not basically utilize evidence with the phone, because they will delete it. You got to have a backup system for this. Anyway, that's it for this playthrough for now. If you guys want me to basically do more of stuff like this, as if I'm basically giving some advice, going over some stuff, but instead of seeing the innate state icon, I could just do this and point out a lot of the predictive programming that they put in video games and whatnot. I don't mind doing that at all, because some people gotta educate a lot of other people on this for them to know. Otherwise, they're just gonna accept stuff that they see as facts, and they're gonna end up being fooled as a result. Anyway, I hope everybody's evening is going well. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday, or should I say Tuesday. Stay safe, stay strong.